Do you want to become a successful entrepreneur? Today I'm going to show you the 7 signs that I think are going to make you a successful entrepreneur. Coming up next.
Let me see you put 'em up. Reach the skies, touch the stars up above. Cause it's one time for the underdog. One time for the underdog.
Hey guys, this is Broke to Beast, where we make videos about starting your own business online or offline, as well as follow along my own journey. Before we start, if you like entrepreneurship and business content, make sure you go down below and subscribe because we post videos every day about helping you achieve your success. This list is a personal list that I think includes the most important traits an entrepreneur needs in order to become successful. Now, I'm mildly successful. I'm not a full-on entrepreneur yet, but I do believe that these are the most important traits an entrepreneur should have. Also, by looking at entrepreneurs that have had more success than me, much more success, that are millionaires and billionaires. And so I've compiled this list just to maybe help you out and think about what kind of habits you have and how you can fix those. And the cool thing is, a lot of these ideas you can actually fix and change in your life. You don't need to stay fixed to the habits you have. You can actually change them. Anyways, let's get to the list. The first trait that you should have as an entrepreneur is to have discipline. Now, I'm going to start off with a strong one. This one I think is the most important step when going into the entrepreneur world, because discipline is what builds great businesses. In business, the person who works the hardest and the smartest at the same time is usually the one who's going to have the most success. Also mixed in with timing, the team they have around, and a bunch of other factors. But discipline sometimes can be the ultimate factor, because if you're willing to work 20 more hours than your nearest competitor, you're more likely to advance your business much faster than them. And so if you have the discipline to work every single day and work smart and heavy hours during that week, then you're more likely to have success. Now, how do you build discipline? Well, building discipline is a complex topic, but in essence, it's just getting used to doing the work when you need it without using your willpower to get started. So the problem with most work ethics is that people like to work maybe 5 days per week and then they take 2 days off. And so the momentum they had in 5 days, it's always destroyed into the 2 days they take off and do nothing. But the problem with this is that when you take days off or you take just time off, you're always losing that momentum and you can't keep going. However, if you actually work every day, you don't even have to work hard every single day. You can just have a periodization of work per day. So maybe 2 days are more laid off and the rest is more hardcore. Even though the intensity is not always there, you have the habit, you start building a habit. And so getting into the groove of work is always easier in the long run because you gain that habit of working every single day. All right, the second trait of a successful entrepreneur or a future successful entrepreneur is that you sacrifice. You sacrifice maybe time, you sacrifice pleasure, you sacrifice now for later, you sacrifice time going out with friends, you sacrifice nights out, partying, you sacrifice girls or guys, whatever you're into. You sacrifice a steady income, you sacrifice whatever you need to sacrifice, you're willing to do it. I have this phrase always in my mind that is whatever it takes. And it's truly whatever it takes. If you want to become a successful entrepreneur, you have to do whatever it takes. You have to get on the phone and do 100 calls per day if you have to, or you have to send 100 cold emails per day in order to have maybe 2-3 respond you back. As an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes in order to reach the next step and reach your goals of building a great business and being free for life. This doesn't mean that you should only think about entrepreneurship and, cut everything out of your life. No, there are periods in your life that you can rotate between these ideas that you like, maybe you're a month or 2 months at home every single day just working. Yeah, you can do that, but sooner or later you're probably going to burn out. So instead of taking vacations, what I recommend is maybe having 1 day per week or 1 afternoon per week that you just do something just to chill out. Then you don't have to worry about anything. And so you can basically recharge, sharpen the saw. What I like to do is just hang out with friends, go to the cinema, and buy a Subway for dinner. That's what I do. Or I like to go to the beach or whatever it is. But you have to find something that will recharge you so you can keep going in the long run, and you don't have to take vacations of 2 weeks, for example, because you're just burned out. A third trait that I think is very important is you learn 20% and you apply 80%. I think a lot of people in today's world are always stopped because of analysis paralysis. They want to learn a lot, but they never apply. So they learn 80% and then they apply 20%. So the execution is not there. The thing is, ideas are simply ideas. You need the execution in order to build a great business. You need the execution to take those ideas and make them a reality. And if you don't have execution, well, you're probably not going to be successful. Or if you are, you're just going to have a mildly successful business, nothing that special. And so I always try to focus on only learning until I need. So if I'm trying to learn about email marketing, for example, how to set up a funnel that is going to be profitable, I only watch a certain amount of videos or tutorials in order to understand it and understand how I'm going to map the funnel in my mind. And when I know what to do, I stop and I get to work, and that's it. Nothing else, nothing motivational, nothing let's do this or nothing related. What's the most important thing is to learn what you need to learn, the problem you need to fix right now, fix it, and then if you want, get back to learning the next problem and how to fix it. And that brings me to the fourth trait, which is implementing as soon as you learn, or as soon as possible. This is, I think, is very important because I see a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people, I've tried to convince a lot of people going through the entrepreneur journey. And I'd say that most people are excited in the beginning when you talk about the possibilities of creating business and making money for yourself and having your time, your schedule, all that, and the future life that you might have. The problem is, there's one thing it's like two types of people. One type of people are like, yeah, this is cool, but now I have to do something and maybe we can start tomorrow. The other type of people is, hey, let's go to my house, let's start doing this. Pick up a computer, let's start programming, or let's start writing a script, or let's start building a website. There's those two types of people. Just think about who's going to be successful. The one who implements the fastest is probably going to be the most successful, because in a world that's always changing, if you don't implement ideas as fast as possible to test them, then you're just wasting time and you'll never know if they actually work. And so this also ties into the idea of not being able to do anything else in life. If you really want to be an entrepreneur and you know you're not employable, then implementing as fast as possible is probably the only choice because you're excited for the next step in your business. The number 5th trait is tied to the 4th, like I said, and it is you feel like it's the only way for the future. If you only believe that you can be an entrepreneur, if you call it that it's in your blood, I like to say that it's in my blood, but if you just feel like that's the only way, then that's probably a trait that's going to show you the path to success. Because if there's no other way and you're against the wall, that's the only way you can walk, well, you'll have to do it, right? Even if it's hard as fuck, you still have to do it. If you have multiple options, it won't be as urgent to follow the way of entrepreneurship. So yeah, keep in mind that maybe having just one option sometimes can be really motivating to follow through with entrepreneurship. All right, the 6th trait that I think is very important in order to be successful as an entrepreneur is to stick with one business and go through with it until the end. And why do I say this? Well, especially in the make money online world, a lot of people like to switch from business idea to business idea. So maybe you think about, oh, look, dropshipping, people are making a lot of money with dropshipping. Let's try that, Shopify. Then they try maybe for a month or two, they have, no success or mild success. Then they say, this doesn't really work. Let me switch to Amazon FBA. Hey, a lot of people are making money at Amazon FBA. Let me try Amazon FBA. They try Amazon FBA for 1-2 months. Maybe they order a few products from Alibaba. Maybe they sell a little bit, maybe not really. So I say, this doesn't work. Then they switch to another thing. So this type of thinking will never take you to success, because if you don't become an expert in one single thing, then in the future, you're just going to just keep switching from idea to idea until you run out of ideas, and then you gotta get a job. For example, myself, I've done dropshipping before, and I've tried Amazon FBA before. So I've done this mistake before. I was always going from one thing to the other. But I think the best thing is to just focus on one thing. And then when I found out about phone flipping, I decided that would be my one thing. And so I fell in love with it, and I kind of really like phone flipping. And so that's what I'm sticking with, at least for now. The seventh trait of a successful entrepreneur is two things mixed together. You don't make excuses and you take responsibility. I think a lot of people nowadays, especially the people my age, like to make excuses, and they like to complain and like to say what's wrong with the world and yell at things that or they don't have any control over, or maybe they could actually change something, but they just take responsibility out of themselves, saying that those other things are ruining their lives. And the problem with this is that if you just give control to everybody else and everything that's around you, you won't have power to change your life. And so if you give the responsibility for the things that happen in your life to other things and other people, you will never be able to change your life like you want. So if you really want to change this type of mindset, you have to think about everything is your responsibility. Everything is your fault. Because if everything is your fault, that means you could have changed it, or you can change it in the future, which means that you have power and you have control over your life. Even things that you can't control, it's sometimes better just to think about them like things you could change and you could control. Because if you do that, you'll just train your mind to think that way. And it's just better for you in the long run, because nobody wants a leader of a company to say, oh, it's his fault, pointing fingers at employees. No, you have to take the blame and then fix whatever is the problem, not put the responsibility on your employees. Okay, so those are the 7 traits. Now I have a bonus one for you. This is something that is very simple, and it's something that I'd like to look at whenever I meet somebody new that talks about entrepreneurship or talks about the entrepreneur way, and they're maybe interested in going through that. And it's something that is not really scientific or not really measured, I'd say, and maybe not the best way to see if somebody is going to be successful. But I always feel like entrepreneurship is fueled by passion, by the passion of changing the world or changing something in their lives, changing their own lives to a better one. And so when I'm meeting somebody new, I always look for something very specific, which is in the eyes. I look for a sparkle, a tiny tear that just reflects on the eye. And I know this might look like cliche or something, but there's a look in people's eyes that I can't really explain it, but if you look somebody in the eyes, at least I can see how they're going to be. At least until now, it has kind of worked, you know. Most times it definitely helps, because on business partners and everything, you can understand people's beliefs and people's goals when you look at their eyes. And if you see when they talk about entrepreneurship, their eyes just sparkle, and you can see in their eyes that they have that killer instinct of just going at business and, you know, never giving up, of discipline. Even I think all of these 7 things you can see in the eyes one way or another. It's hard, but if you see that killer instinct, you'll be able to spot it. And well, I like to think that I have it, at least, I don't know, but I've seen it in other people before, and I always connect well with those people because I like those type of people. It's just people that, you know, they want to get it, and they understand the rules of life, that life is hard, but if you truly believe in something and if you work hard for it and you have the discipline, then you can achieve it. So always look at people in the eyes so you can understand who they really, really are. Anyways, I hope this helped you out, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments below so we can have a conversation about entrepreneurship or anything else. And if you liked that video, please leave a like and subscribe, because we post videos every day helping you achieve your success with business and in life, and also to share my story so you can learn as well. And I hope this helped, and until next time, peace.